Hey Collective, it's Al, and welcome back to the channel. Today is going to be kind of a direct briefing for the frequency that kind of would be attracted to this particular message. So I'm going to be very direct with how it came across, and I'm going to explain in a lot of detail why. So as many of you know, I've been basically telling us as a collective to be very cautious of our actions during this reset phase, and to be prepared for the return of the chariot and so forth. And so as Easter now approaches, I have not really been able to sleep because I've been getting this download. And here's what I've basically been getting. It doesn't surprise me. Unfortunately, I was, hoping for another outcome. But I had warned that about 2 years ago, I started warning us that one of the greatest things that would get us through this reset and away from the judgment phase would be if we protected the children and we fought for children's rights and we stopped child trafficking, child abuse, child sex scandals in churches and so forth. And so since that hasn't really been happening, I had also warned that the one thing that we had that was in our favor was the fact that we were not able to give this shot to children. Well, apparently the collective has decided to start experimenting with children with that, which is a forbidden thing to do. Children's bodies have not yet evolved and are not in a position to gestate that particular thing into their body. There are a lot of consequences to such actions, and people know this. We've seen this happen with medicating children at early ages and sudden onslaught of school shootings and things that have to do with what happens when you repress emotional growth within a soul, within a very particular period. Puberty is very important for an adult to form, because without puberty you can't express your emotions and you can't balance yourself out. So imagine what medication does to that. So the collective has now decided to go ahead and completely ignore what's basic knowledge to any human being and actually start putting toxins into children and treat it as an experiment on live kids. So here's what you're going to need for those of you at this frequency. I would prepare for a 7-year period where there's going to be a lot of karmic getting, and many of you may call it the time of tribulation. It'll be pretty fierce. So here's what you do. You remember that your faith is sound and that you are a protected being. You remember that you are guided by something higher than yourself. You are prepared to meet whatever comes your way because you are indeed protected, but you must believe it. If you don't, if you're afraid, then you probably won't do very well with this. And for a very long period of time, the one thing I had mentioned is that I was very big on trying to get out there and trying to just share what I knew with the collective. And there were supposed to be people who were going to be there to help spread that word and bring people together that were part of the same frequency, but that did not happen. So for those particular parties who missed that part of the contract and did not do their part of it, just understand that whatever you encounter in the near future will be because you failed to do what you were asked to do, and you know it. And so instead of getting mad about it, I just have basically relinquished my emotional attachment to it. The one thing that I was very cautious about is that the thing that I do not tolerate in my own life is anything that hurts a child. That's actually forbidden for me in any way, shape, or form. I have morals and ethics, and one of my strongest stances and one of my biggest points of integrity is that I do not tolerate stupidity when it comes to kids. And so when I saw that we were actually experimenting with children, I was immediately started to emotionally detach from what happens here forward. And that's an unfortunate side effect. But humanity had a choice to do the right thing and to face its own consequences for its own actions, which is fine. People don't want to do that. But the moment that you started to put it into a child's body, you violated your own terms of what it is to be a human being. And so there are consequences to such things. So what you will need at this frequency is a light bag with whatever you need specifically. Keep I would say any type of money if you're lucky enough to have money. I don't have any resources right now financially, but I'll be fine. You're going to need your passport, I guess, if you have one, or you're going to need your ID, your birth certificate, and any type of documents you need to carry with you. Any type of bank information, I would just keep the account numbers, but be advised that I don't know how this all plays out, so it could be where there's no electronics, so keep cash on you if at all possible. Make sure that your bag is light enough for yourself and then one for your child. Ensure that they have something that keeps them entertained and something that keeps them content. I personally am like packing just a pair of jeans. I have a pair of jeans, a tank top, a sweater, and then a shirt to cover just in case, depending on whatever the weather is. I don't know why I'm doing this in particular, but it's just a gut instinct and my intuition is never wrong. Make sure that you carry your mask with you. I would say keep 2 always for you, and then any kids you have too, to protect, I don't know, ash or whatnot. Don't know where that's coming from necessarily either, but I'm just going to put out there exactly what I got. As far as the information, here's one of the interesting parts about it. People spend so much time thinking that they hold power, and then when they actually have a responsibility to do something where they can just allow others to hear different ideas that may one day become handy, they get stuck in this egoish phase where, the reputation and this and that. Well, welcome to Carmageddon, because a lot of you had an opportunity to help people who were actually speaking the truth and bringing the world together and uniting our planet. And their focus was not on ego, it was on actually trying to just get word out there that something was coming, and the world knows it. Everybody is in a complete panic over something that they can't outrun, and things are just about to get worse because people decided that they wouldn't take responsibility. And so some of the biggest karma is going to go to people who had opportunities, that knew that something was valid in what other people were saying, and decided to turn their head to it. Well, that's on you. Personally speaking, the one good thing I can say is that I did do everything I could to get out there, but I don't look at the world in a negative way. I just look at it like it is what it is. You know, the balance that's needed is going to have to be restructured. On the bright side, I still have hope, and that's the one thing that I would recommend for all of the collective, is to keep your hope very much alive. Understand that everything that's about to happen will not touch those that are faithful, not judgmental or stuck to something that is collapsing, because there's a lot that's about to go down that's going to be just like mind-blowing for people who are not prepared. And a lot of people aren't going to make it, and you're just going to have to be like, okay, well, everyone had the same opportunity. Everybody had the same information being brought to them. Their tuition's been screaming at them that something was coming. Everybody knows that something was up. There's no such thing as free money. There's no such thing as a cure-all for something that you cannot run. Now there's mutations. Now there's side effects, which of course I was warning about over a year ago. Again, people didn't bother to stand up and pay attention. Well, that's tough. It's a tough situation. But here's the thing. A plus B will always equal C. The information was there. We knew that there was something not right here. And so now, don't be surprised that everyone has to pay the consequences. All of the karma that has not been burnt off is now going to basically crash in everybody's faces. And as you can see, this is my expression to the entire thing. Every human being is intuitive. They have their own moral compass and ethical standards. When they violate themselves on a regular basis, then it's not surprising that as a collective they decided to turn their head to what was right. Okay. For those of you at this frequency, it is not your failure if other people did not hear you. It is not your failure. The people who had the opportunity to help the next person in line like they were supposed to didn't do it. That's not your karma. Your karma is still going to be paid to you. You're going to be safe. You're going to be fed. You're going to have everything that you need, and you're going to get through it. It's really that simple. Everyone around you, however, is going to have to face their karma very, very quickly. And so what I would say is, you know how the wheel of fortune, as they say, turns and it can go either direction? It's like if someone's coming up, others are going down. This is going to be a flip, and it's going to happen very quickly. Those of you who have done everything you can to raise the vibration of humanity have done your job, and you've done it well. The people who fail to make the connecting flights, it's on them. Their karma is going to, for them, it's going to be a little bit faster from what I understand. And I'm not castigating anybody because I have no idea who directly this is to. I don't really know. And I don't really care. And that's the truth of it. You know, at this point, what I've learned is that attaching my emotions in this scenario where we've done everything we can whatever we can to spread the word of, hey, you have an opportunity here to do what's right for humanity and for yourself and for your family. That's as best we can do. So what I want people at this frequency to understand is that if you've done that, if you have tried to reach people and just said your piece and no one's paid it, that's not on you. Your soul is clean. Your soul it's done what it needed to do for not just for itself, because I want everybody to understand that those of us who are here with a task, we still have our task. It just got a little bit easier to some degree for us in the near future. While everything collapses and everybody goes this way and down and they go through hell, because they're going to go through all 7 layers of hell, we're going to be going up. And the opposition side, it won't be like anything glamorous. It won't be like anything where financial windfall or whatnot. Oh, maybe. I mean, I don't know. Only the divine knows how this plays out. But understand that you're going to balance upwards. So just know that you will be on top of the situation as opposed to under the rubble. And that's very important to keep in mind so that your soul is sound. Because one of the things I've had to really, really deal with is the fact that I am a Cancerian Leo rising. It's a very interesting mixture for any type of leadership. But the one thing that I have learned is that I am the most loving person in the world. Love has not been there for me. And that's perfectly okay. But I haven't stopped loving until right now. Right now is when I put the emotions on the back burner. And I would recommend for those of you who are like me to set it on the side and just go, hey, I did everything I could to reach out to family, to reach out to friends, and they, whatever their reaction was to you is not your responsibility. Your whole responsibility at this point is to just know that you will be fine. You are built for this. You can handle this. There's nothing that's going to faze you. You're going to look at situations and people are going to be bitching and moaning and all whiny. Remember that we knew when the shift happened that those at a higher vibration would not be able to tolerate people at a lower vibration. It's just not going to happen. So instead of worrying about that, just release your mind and do what I do, which is go very zen, meditate into yourself, find peace in the fact that you know that you've done what you can. Stand in your power and face whatever's about to happen with grace and dignity, and always remember to be grateful. That's the best advice I can give anybody. So just keep a light bag with you. I don't know exactly if that's just that might just be a metaphor or it might be a real thing, but I actually have a light bag with my little laptop, and I keep a drawing pad with some pencils, and I'm good to go. Because I don't know if the electronics are going to be there, you know what I mean? And since I don't have any cash to work with, but I already have survival skills that I learned through the past year and a half. So, and then here's the other thing. Don't put your bets on people who have borrowed power right now. That's all about the collapse around them. When you are materialistic and that's your whole deal, and you're worried about your reputation and that's your whole deal, then both of those things will collapse all around you. And it's just part of balancing, right? But know for those of you at this frequency that what I'm trying to tell you is, though, yes, we are in the 7-year tribulation. That is what it's activating right now. And it started the moment that we started testing on children. You all know better than that. I don't know who's stupid enough to think that was a wise idea. And I'm not even going to be nice about it. I told you guys a long time ago. The one thing that the divine universe will not tolerate is that. The children were our future. There's a couple songs I think you guys should really listen to again. I Believe the Children Are Our Future, which I think is Whitney Houston. Anything by, I think Michael Jackson's Man in the Mirror are the two that I would recommend listening to right now. And then We Are the World is the third one. And kind of just brace for that. I have empathy for society, and I believe society will do well, but I do understand why, if this actually comes to be, that it's well served. I mean, I'm not sorry. Leadership is about sometimes delivering information that people don't want to hear and doing it in a way that is non-emotional. You cannot put emotions where people have lacked ethics and morals. You can't do that. Because you're tying something to someone who doesn't even understand what it is to be loving. A loving human being would never take another loving human being's rights away. A loving human being would never make somebody take something that you know is probably not good for everybody. And we know that. I mean, look at all the side effects that are already started. And that's that they're suppressing the information. So the barely minimum that we're getting is just scratching the surface of what's actually happening. Now imagine yourself with everything that might come within the next 7 years without the ability to see. Or having some sort of issues with limbs or whatnot. What can you do? Nothing. And you can't get emotional or upset about it because you had the same option that they did. It was your faith that taught you, hey, I better not mess with this. Only the divine can handle who stays and who goes. Messing with it in any kind of way is kind of running away from dad, and it never really works out for people. Not everybody's going to have problems with it. I mean, I'm sure there's a majority of the population who should be okay, I guess. For now. What are the long-term consequences? Have we really looked at it? No. We decided that it was better to just be afraid. Karma's a bitch. It really is a bitch. So for those of you at this frequency, I know that I sound very dry and very, very matter of fact, but not everything's going to always be sunshine and roses. The truth of leadership is now you're going to be tested. You wanted the responsibility. You did your best you could. Now it's about doing what we're tasked with doing, which is to observe what happens around us and not let it affect our emotional range, not let it affect our future, not let it take our hope or our faith. We signed up for this. That's part of the academy. The academy started to collapse. Everyone within the academy had an opportunity for the past year and a half to make the right choices, and it appears that they decided that it would be better to test on children. I don't feel pity for anybody on that. That's it for me, guys. I hope you have a great day. Bye.